Chapter 1. The Sweet Sound of Love. The dimming sun cast a golden glow over the rugged terrain of the Scottish Highlands. Inside a luxurious cabin nestled within the mountain ranges, two grown-up sisters, Elinor and Marianne, were spending a much-needed vacation away from their busy lives in London. Elinor, a successful businesswoman in her mid-30s, was enjoying the serenity of the wild outdoors, while Marianne, a free-spirited writer in her late 20s, was reveling in the opportunity to reconnect with her sister. As the day came to an end, the sisters retired to their cabin, each eager to unwind in their own way. Elinor was preparing for bed, securing the windows and fluffing the pillows, when Marianne emerged from her room with a small leather-bound book in hand. "I have something special planned for tonight," Marianne said with a glimmer in her eyes. Intrigued, Elinor watched as Marianne settled onto her bed and opened the book to a page that caught her attention. "It's a collection of bedtime stories for grown-ups," Marianne explained. "I thought it would be a fun way to spend the evening." Elinor hesitated for a moment, wondering if she was too old for such a thing, but she decided to give it a try. As Marianne began to read, Elinor closed her eyes, feeling the stresses of the day melt away with each word. It was like a time machine that transported her to another era and world. Marianne read a classic romance novel, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. As the story unfolded, Elinor found herself immersed in the tumultuous love affair between Catherine and Heathcliff, feeling their passion and pain as if it was her own. She was spellbound by the story's intensity and raw emotion. As Marianne finished reading, Elinor opened her eyes, feeling a sense of awe and wonder. The story had awakened something in her, something she thought she had lost long ago, her ability to feel deeply. "That was amazing," Elinor said, feeling a newfound appreciation for the power of storytelling. "I had forgotten how much I used to love reading as a child." Marianne grinned. "There's something magical about a good bedtime story. It can transport you to a different time and place and make you feel things you didn't know were possible." As the sisters settled into their beds, Elinor felt a renewed sense of connection with her sister. She knew that this vacation would be one of the most cherished memories of her life, and that she would always treasure the time she spent with Marianne, lost in the world of books and stories. The next morning, the sisters woke up early to embark on a hiking adventure. The crisp morning air filled their lungs as they made their way up the mountain, taking in the breathtaking views of the Scottish Highlands. Elinor had always been more of a city girl, but she was surprised to find that she was enjoying the fresh air and exercise more than she thought she would. As they climbed higher and higher, Marianne began to tell Elinor stories of the Scottish folklore she had grown up with. Elinor listened intently as Marianne spoke of fairies and kelpies, of ancient clans and hidden treasures. It was fascinating to hear about the rich history and mythology of the country they were exploring. After several hours of hiking, the sisters came across a small waterfall cascading down the side of the mountain. They paused to catch their breath and take in the scenery, when they noticed a small cluster of flowers growing in the rocks beside the falls. Marianne bent down to get a closer look, and Elinor followed suit. "They're heather flowers," Marianne said, pointing to the purple blooms. "They're the national flower of Scotland." Elinor reached out to touch one of the petals, marveling at its softness. As they continued their hike, Elinor noticed how the heather seemed to grow everywhere, covering the ground like a soft purple carpet. It was a beautiful sight, and Elinor felt grateful to be experiencing it with her sister. The rest of the vacation passed by in a blur of hikes, sightseeing, and lazy afternoons spent reading and relaxing in the cabin. Elinor felt her bond with Marianne growing stronger with each passing day, and she found herself feeling more at peace than she had in a long time. On the last night of their vacation, the sisters sat on the porch, sipping hot tea and watching the sun set over the mountains. Elinor felt a sense of melancholy knowing that their time together was coming to an end. "I can't believe it's almost over," Elinor said, her voice soft. "I know," Marianne replied, gazing out at the view, "but we'll always have this." Elinor smiled, feeling grateful for the memories they had made on this trip. As they finished their tea, Marianne suggested they read one more story before bed. "This one is a mystery," Marianne said, opening the book to a new page. "It's about a detective who solves a crime in a small Scottish village." Elinor leaned back, closing her eyes as Marianne began to read. The story was captivating, with twists and turns that kept Elinor on the edge of her seat. As the story came to an end, Elinor opened her eyes, feeling satisfied but sad that their time together was ending. "It's been a wonderful trip," Elinor said, hugging Marianne tightly. "Thank you for suggesting we come here." Marianne hugged her back, tears in her eyes. "I'm just glad we got to do this together." As they hugged, Elinor realized that this trip had brought her and Marianne closer than ever before. They had shared moments of joy and laughter, as well as moments of sadness and reflection. Elinor knew that she would always treasure this time spent with her sister, and that the memories they had made would stay with her for a lifetime.